It's that time change, everybody. It's that time change. Thank you. Thank
Beautiful,
you,
darling.
Bob, Scott, Jeff, thank you.
Let's hear it for this band, guys. And Alicia, thank you. It was beautiful. I like that. How many of you can relate to that? If you can relate to that, where you like crashed down, you tumbled, and you just wanted to give up, and you're just like, I just can't do this, but something brought you up. How many can relate to that? Say amen. Amen. I know, right? That's what brings us together. You know, communities like this are brought together through pleasure and happiness. We're also brought together because many of us are feeling pain and separation. And so we join in on Sunday services and other classes and things like this to remind ourselves that we're okay. Remember that book, I'm Okay, You're Okay? You know, they rewrote it, I'm okay, you're an idiot. Remember that one? Right? But we don't use that one. I try not to use that one because life in prison would not be good for me. So this morning my talk is accepting what is. And I have a problem with that. I'm Joe, and I have a problem accepting what is. Hi, Joe. Hi. Try it again. Hi, my name is Joe, and I have trouble accepting what is. Thank you very much. For those of you who've been in meetings before, you knew what I was just rolling with. So, all right. So I have a challenge with this, and so whenever I figure that I'm having a challenge, someone in this room might be feeling the same way, right? Because there is this thing, you know, there's this energy that goes around, and, you know, especially when you listen to other people's conversations, there's a commonality with that. So this is my philosophy and always has been, and Dr. Holmes talked about this, and I think this is what I have to constantly remind myself of. Whatever appears in the universe to be wrong is not wrong in itself, but is the wrong arrangement of that which is right. Somewhere within the wrong feeling, the rightness does exist. The answer does exist, even though at the moment we're feeling like something is wrong. We can't distance ourselves from this energy that continues to flow. So whatever is in the wrong energy, it's up to us to reframe it and move different thoughts into place and replace them so that they can grow. So we have the right arrangement within ourselves at all times. She's just saying, I didn't know my own strength. All the answers are already within you, and if we stop spinning long enough, which that's my problem. Anybody? I'm Joe Hooper, and I'm a spinner. Yeah, thank you. You guys are really good at that now, see? But therein lies my challenge. My greatest challenge is to, when I'm lying in bed at 4 a.m., not to spin and not to just continue to obsess on what feels wrong. Does that make sense? But the questions are this. Are we accepting what is our human experience or accepting what is the spiritual truth? Are you practicing compassion or alignment? So I'm going to ask these two questions. The first one is, accepting what is the spiritual truth underlying any human condition or experience is the true reality. Now, what that means is this. If you see the R that I underlined there, capital R, when we accept, here we go, the spiritual truth in any human condition, there is a divine answer always within it. A divine reality, capital R. Sometimes it's elusive to us because in our small human reality, we can't imagine it being right because it feels so wrong. Are you with me? When we accept what is reality, big R, rather than our human condition, small r, we can see it for what it is without fear of being stuck or trapped in it. We get trapped in our little r. Are you with me? We forget that there is a higher reality, a higher spiritual truth, one that everyone has access to. You don't have to have a secret code. There's no handshake. There's no private line. It's something, you don't have to text it or you find it on the internet. It's something that's already within us that we have forgotten that we have. Our spiritual truth, our spiritual reality, the fact that the universe wants us to be happy. Did you know that? I mean, no. Some people think my lot in life is to carry around all these burdens, and they're so heavy. In fact, those people that do that, usually a lot of people like to throw more stuff on their cart. Have you noticed? Here, you're good at carrying, carry some of mine, right? But within you is a spiritual truth that you don't have to rely on anyone else to get the answer. Next thing, compassion. We talked about having compassion. Sympathetic concerns, a concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others, versus alignment, a position of agreement or alliance with sufferings or misfortunes. The thing is, are you aligning with the spiritual truth, or are you aligning with a mess? That's what that breaks down to, right? When you're looking at something, I can have compassion. I can be very sympathetic to what people are going through. But if I get in the ditch with them, remember I've always said, when the blind lead the blind, you both end up in the ditch. No one's going to be able to see the truth unless someone stays out of the ditch. And our job is to keep the highest focus and the highest opportunity for it to unfold. In order to do that, I cannot align with your energy. I can be compassionate about it, feel compassion and be compassionate about it, and love you through it. But the second I become what you're talking about, and I believe that that's your truth, and that you're declaring it as your truth, I've ignored the spiritual, capital R, reality that you are entitled to be happy and prosperous and healthy. So there's a difference between a listening ear and one that becomes the problem with the individual. Are you with me? Has anyone ever done that? Only 4 of you. Okay, good. We don't need this. I love this quote. Don't let anyone who hasn't been in your shoes tell you how to tie your laces. I mean, really. It's so funny because yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, these all days are going. Yesterday we went to a baby shower, and a young woman that I used to Trey and I used to care for, one of Carly's friends, her and her brother. We used to help bring them up. She was having her second baby, and she was giving her mother instructions on how to take care of this child, right? And that, you don't do this and you don't do that. Mom, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And all I kept thinking is, oh my God, that was so me, right? And oh my God, that's going to be me if and when Carly ever has a grandchild. She's going to be going, no, don't do that right. You're doing that wrong. And yet it was right when we did it, but now it's wrong. Does anybody feel that? So I try to remember that I was, when I was a parent, when Trey and I were parents, we didn't really always, we were picky. I mean, I scrubbed everything. I was one of those dad moms people, right? And now I look back at going, what the hell was I thinking? And then I also think about all the worry we had over our child and school and essays and all that. And then I talk to my sister and I hear her about her grandkids and my great nieces and nephews, and I hear all this stuff and I think, oh my God, if they only knew that it's going to be okay. It may not feel like it at the moment, but it's going to be okay. It always is. Here we go. Now, this is a little bit longer. When lives are chaotic, it's nonsense to say that it's all an illusion. Instead of fighting conditions, try going along with the universe and refuse to admit that there isn't a problem that does not have a solution. Let me repeat that. There isn't a problem that doesn't have a solution. There isn't a problem that the universe can't resolve. Whatever has been created can be recreated in your life and in the lives of all people, right? The thing is, are you willing to participate in that recreation process, or are you stuck with what is because it's the known variable, and I'd rather have it in my life because I know how to treat it. I know how to do this. Or am I willing to release it long enough to know that there's something bigger that can happen here? Resistance makes us harder, sharper, and more rigid. Accepting what is moves us through resistance and to a new place. I always say, the word no doesn't grow. That rigidity, that you just become sharper and more prickly, thorny. Does that make sense? Instead of starting to just look at things saying, okay, I can get to a new place when I'm accepting what is, knowing that a spiritual truth is revealing itself in some way, shape, or form. Accepting what is, knowing, so what is here, I'm accepting it, knowing full well that there is some spiritual answer that is in its formation, making its way into my experience because my consciousness has been open up to that idea. I'm not frozen to hanging on to the negative. Are you with me? I keep asking that. So often we want to apply our understanding of law, you create your own reality, unto others. Yet it can be a challenge and a brutal response to someone in the midst of some serious issues. Well, you created it. Thank you. Again, I'm glad I don't own a gun. Thank you. Right? Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that I screwed up. That's really helpful. I feel much better about myself now that you recognize that I'm a screw-up too. How does that feel? Does that feel spiritually good? Do you feel like, oh my God, all my prayers have been answered because everybody recognizes that I made a mistake? No. It completely changes our responses when we remember that just like others, we forget or we simply never knew who we really are. It's when we forget. And that's why I've kind of taken a new stance. And by the way, my husband, next month, Trey and I celebrate 35 years together. He's back there. Wave of tremor. Who wanted to let you know that the music department became a mad success as soon as he left the junior church and began singing. I just wanted to let you know that he wanted to share that with. Anyway, I find myself in silence more than in demonstration, more than opposition. Because what I find is when I sit in silence, first off, I'm not engaging at the level of the problem, which is the biggest challenge. I'm deciding to just let whatever is being worked out, let it work out. Now, that doesn't mean I have opinions. That doesn't mean I'm a doormat. But I just noticed that silence sometimes, instead of reinforcing something that's wrong, right? Silence sometimes is much more effective so that I can keep my mind on what's right. You don't have to go into battle with everyone you disagree with all the time. We're coming up on election season. Feelings are hot all over the place, right? They're running hot. Doesn't mean that we have to engage on that level. We can be civil to one another. We can talk to one another and listen instead of always feeling like we have to launch an attack. Does that make sense? Sometimes no response is a response. And this is my thing. If people wanted to, they would. Timing will not always feel like it's in your favor. And not everyone has the same heart as you. So when you're accepting what is, sometimes you have to accept that no response is a response, right? That if people wanted to do something, they would do it. How many times have you been forced to do something you don't want to do, and then later you regret it because your intuition said don't, your internal voice said don't, but you did, and now you're like, why did I do that? Can you relate? Yes? All right. There are people who would love to have your bad days. No, think about this. I watched some of the social media things, and I watched some of the things that are going on in Gaza and in Israel and just all over the world where all these conflicts are. And I think, you know what? I'm complaining that my pancakes are cold at IHOP, right? And someone is struggling to find something to drink. You know? And, I'm complaining that, I need a pedicure, and someone's sitting here dealing with chemotherapy. We forget. People would love to have some of our bad days, right? What we call bad days. Now, that doesn't mean that I know there are times when we're legitimately in a real lousy place. I mean, I've been in an ambulance so many times that my husband says if I get one more punch card, I get a free ride, right? So I've had my downs, right? I don't want to become them. And those were bad days. But on the whole, on the aggregate, I know, I venture to say that the people in this room are leading lives that there are people in other countries and even down valley who would love to live your worst day. So let's be grateful for the days that we have and the things that we have to engage in. Let's not forget. Let's not get bogged down, in the race to get wherever there is to go. Be here, accept what is, and accept that other people, we can be that arm, that outstretched arm, or that ear, or that listening ear, or a way to volunteer to help move those people out of that place. We don't have to sit in silence. There are things that we can do. Love this. I don't walk away to teach people a lesson. I walk away because I learned mine. I'd rather adjust my life to your absence than adjust my boundaries to accommodate what I feel is your disrespect. Whoa. Not sure I wouldn't be telling people that in the grocery store line, but I certainly think that is worthy to think about. And, it's hard to walk away from people, family members, friends, but sometimes you have to, because the violation of your boundaries and the way you here's my problem, and I'll admit it. So there are times when I get so emotionally charged about responding to something that I lose my boundaries. I lose my boundaries because as much as I want it, as much as I don't have my crap together all the time. Does anyone? No. Annie? No. Okay. Annie is, I think, the longest member here, Annie, and she's still working on it. She's up here every week in the front, right? Annie, she's still working on herself. So that is testimony that we will continue to try, which is why we keep coming back, right? But that's the challenge, to be able to walk away clean and not tell somebody off when you're walking away. Some people bless us by coming, others by going. Some people look better from behind, walking away. Agreed? So the question comes up quite about accepting what is. And when I talk to people about what science of mind is and what spiritual living is, people are like, well, how does that differ from being religious? Religion versus spirituality. So I found this and I thought these are good talking points for you to be able to accept what is about your journey without diminishing what someone else has. You have something to say in response to how people are responding to you. Does that make sense? So religion worships God. Spirituality encourages oneness with God. Religion believes that God is outside you. What do we believe? God is within you. It's not a destination. It's already within you. Religion sometimes separates people who have different beliefs. Spirituality unites people regardless of their beliefs. Are you with? Religion teaches people to be afraid of hell. I've already lived through that. In fact, I go through that quite often, actually. I visit that, on occasion. Does anyone else visit hell on occasion? Yeah, I got it. Spirituality teaches to create heaven on earth. Spirituality also should tell you to create how you can create hell on earth. Because, see, the universe doesn't tell you that it's all about heaven. It says it'll be done unto you as you believe, not how you beg, not as you negotiate, not as you wish, but it's done unto you as you believe. So you have the right to believe that your life is going to be heaven, or if it's going to be hell, you shall have hell, and you shall have it abundantly, pressed down and flowing over times 10. How does that sound? You don't want to do that one. All right. Religion sometimes is based on fear and restriction. Spirituality based on love and freedom. Religion feels like being a single drop in the ocean versus spirituality feels like being the entire ocean in a single drop. I've said it before, and it's one of my mantras. You are made up of the stuff of stars. When you take the periodic table of elements, remember in science class, we used to have some were older when we only had 12, and now there's like 145 different elements now. They keep finding them. But they're all found, almost all of them are found in the human body, which means you are literally made up of the purest stuff that's in the universe. And I think the things that are missing, they just don't know how to test to see how they're in the human body. But you are literally made up of the stuff of stars. So I am not just out there in some randomness. Everything that was in the stars, all the potential, all the energy, all the light, all the wisdom, I can shine through me because I was born with that. It's my fiber. It's my divine birthright. Religion, it's based on others' experiences versus spirituality. It's based on your own personal experience. Your relationship with the infinite, your relationship with God, whatever you want to call it, the universe, Jesus, Buddha, I don't care what you call it, your relationship with it is unique because no one, even if you've been married to them for 150 years, no one has the same experiences we've had while we were little kids growing up and through our life as relationships. There are certain things that have happened in our life that we've never even talked about, that are still back there that were part of our programming. So your experience, you have a personal relationship with God. So accepting what is means also that I don't have to accept that the way someone else looks at religion or spirituality is a way that I have to look at that. I'm entitled to have my own experience. I'm entitled to have my own life experience and my own beliefs around what that experience entails. Okay? Here we go. Wrapping it up. Are we on what time? I have no idea what real time it really is. Don't worry about it. This is something that I have felt so passionate about. No one has to go without love in order for you to love. No one has to be sick for you to be well. No one has to choke for you to breathe. No one has to be poor so you can be rich. Surely a loving creator would be pleased to see its creation happy, well, and peaceful. This whole idea that we need to take things away that will make some people happy, but some people miserable. Wait a minute. If you don't like gay marriage, don't marry a gay person. Right? I'm sorry. And I know because I can say this because what do you do? Fire me. I am a pro-life person, but I'm also pro-choice. My daughter would not be here had the woman that carried her decided to have an abortion. But that's not up to me. But I'm so blessed and glad that she didn't. But I'm saying I don't have to tell you what to do with your body. No more than I want you to tell me what to do with my body. We don't have to tell people how to love. We don't have to tell people how they can or cannot have children. We can't tell people. Who cares about who marries who? I really don't care what you do behind your closed doors. I really don't. I've seen the videos. It's not appealing to me. I'll move right on. Okay? All right. So having said that, let's just move on. We don't need to take away something for someone else, but that's what's happening. That's why I see this frustrating. We're feeling like we need to take away in the name of religion so that people can be less free. It's insane. That part is insane. I may not agree with everything that is on any sides of both aisle, but I do agree that taking these things away, trying to remove these rights are insane because you're trying to make other people miserable by changing what you think they should live their lives by. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Don't tell me how to live mine. I am accepting what is with myself. It took me a lot of years to accept this drag queen is who it is. And I celebrate that inner person. You should see some of the pictures. I celebrate a lot. Trey and I are out there traveling the world having a great time. But we're not, I cannot for the life of me understand why someone needs to take our lives away to make their life better. I don't get it. You never steal your good over the back of someone else. You never make your good over the back of someone else. You engage and you be part of someone's creation and expansion. You don't ever retract yourselves into expansion. You can't shrink yourself into expansion. And now more than ever, I feel like we're shrinking up again when we should be expanding the arms of love around the universe. We should be embracing more people and not trying to alienate more people. It's insane. Now, again, you don't have to agree with every part of it, but don't take someone else's life away to think that you're doing the right thing. That's up to them. That's up to us, and the individual. And sometimes if they make mistakes, and I make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes, but to start just attacking it is just, I'm over it, as you can tell. I believe that what people need from us is love, compassion, kindness, and caring. They don't need more of our stuff. When we practice those attributes, we can safely create a space so that we don't have to stay stuck in any experience, and that this too shall pass as we create a new tomorrow. But it's incumbent upon us, everyone here, to exercise love for themselves, compassion for themselves, kindness and caring for yourself first. That's not an act of selfishness, it's an act of survival. I can't be a spiritual support for you if I'm not practicing these things for myself. So that doesn't mean you have to ignore people while you're in process, right? You don't have to close yourself up and ignore everybody, but just recognize that I have to make sure that I'm taking time for those attributes to be a part of my life so I can share them with others and begin to support the lives of other people. And that doesn't mean living the way I live. It just means supporting them the way they want to live. It's not about, again, going back and correcting them for their spiritual mistakes. Yeah, you did something. No, not about that. It's about supporting them into what looks ahead. You know, for the center here, I had dinner with William and Elizabeth last night, and I said, okay, you know what? Time to stop looking in the rearview mirror of everything that has happened up till now. You got to start looking forward and making plans going forward, because looking back is just going to take you where you don't want to go. So let's move forward into things. Launch forward into some new things. And this congregation, I know, is hungry for that and will join you. And now that everything's on, we've had our celebration. We had a 3-in-1. These guys are installed. William is installed. I'm retired. All this stuff is over with. Now, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. And what I'm talking about now, and I'm going to just end on this part. We can get this center back to 2 services a Sunday. We can get back to having buses going into the Pantages to go watch theater, to go watch Ricky Byers and everything. We can get our social groups back to what they used to be so that we're out here having fun, because there's enough stress going on in the universe. It's awfully nice to meet with like-minded people to laugh a little bit, right? So now we need to laugh a lot more in here. We need to create that energy, and it's time to move forward to do that. But I ask all of you, please be part of that loving, compassionate, kind, and caring energy here, and when you leave the center. This center's been a beacon of light in the center of the Coachella Valley for 50 years. In the middle of the Coachella Valley, in the middle of Palm Desert, in the middle of Coachella Valley, this center has been a beacon of love, compassion, caring, and kindness. And so let's not forget that this sacred ground that you are sitting on, that thousands of people have sat on and put their feet on this ground right here in this very room, that they have taken that message out into the universe, accepting what is and building up for even greater. And that is our charge as expanding spiritualists, right? As spiritual people, that's our charge, is to take this and move it not just into our homes, but into our communities, because that's going to change the world. That's when we're going to sing one people on one planet, living as one family, and we're finally going to be able to believe it, right? All right. On that note, and so ends the lesson, so starts your journey. Thank you, everybody.